Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome at the English news program here at Ora News. And now, the night's news. The board of the Central Bank of Albania has supported the governor of the Central Bank, Ardian Fulani, after the protest in several cities which requested the resignation of the governor regarding the grand theft in the Central Bank. The governor of the Central Bank of Albania, Ardian Fulani, was given the support of most of the board members after the request to discharge him from the head of the bank. After a meeting which lasted for about 4 hours yesterday, the bank announced that 5 members of the board have not accepted the proposals of the last member, Ermelinda Mexi, who requested the dismissal of the governor, considering him as responsible regarding the theft in the highest banking institution in our country. Despite the support given from the supervisory board, Governor Fulani is facing the public opinion, which requests his resignation after the theft of nearly 5.1 million euro in the central bank. During the last days, several protests have been organized demanding the dismissal of Governor Fulani, but it appears that the governor will not change his opinion, especially after having the support of most political parties and also the support of the majority of members in the supervisory board. The board is the only institution with the right to dismiss the governor of the central bank without his own will. However, Governor Fulani still has troubles lying ahead. A public hearing is expected to be held in the first parliamentary session in September, while protesters have promised to continue their fights in order to force the governor to resign and face his responsibilities regarding the greatest theft in our country's history. During the first week of September, the governor of the Central Bank of Albania, Ardian Fulani, will be asked from the prosecution to testify about the theft of 730 million lek from the Central Bank of Albania. The news was confirmed for Ora News from reliable sources at the investigation group that sent the official letter to the office of the head of the Albanian bank. Fulani will not be the only high official to visit the prosecution, since all 6 members of the supervisory board have been requested to come as well. Sources have confirmed for Ora News that all 7 high executives of the Central Bank of Albania were requested from the prosecution to testify next week, but the response they received from the governor and the members was the same. They stated that they are on vacations and cannot come until the first week of September. Considering this answer, the prosecution has been forced to postpone this meeting. Sources say that the governor is the first one who will be called from the prosecution, since he is the person in charge of the Central Bank of Albania. After him, the prosecution will call to testify Vice Governor Elisabeta Joni and the other members of the board of the Central Bank of Albania. The same reliable sources have confirmed to Ora News that most of the people called to testify from the prosecution have demanded an explanation regarding the reason they are being called. On its part, the prosecution considers them as people who may have valuable information about the grand theft, and this is the reason they were called to testify. So far, the police have arrested 10 people considered as responsible regarding the spectacular theft in the Central Bank of Albania. Aitanga Lubonia, who has recently become part of the actions of the civil society to collect signatures in order to ask the assembly the discharge of the governor, declared that she has received threatening messages. Mrs. Lubonia, who is a former persecuted person, has reported these threats to the police. According to her, she received a threatening message in her mobile phone. "We know everything about you. We know who you are and what you do. Recently, you are dealing with a petition that serves to high members of politics. Open your eyes and look around. You won't feel good if you have to watch your back all the time. I am someone who wants the best for you, and that is why I am trying to warn you. Do not force us to take extreme measures against you. Give up while you still have time." This is the full message that was sent to Mrs. Lubonia. "We will follow all democratic means to go to the end of this matter. This is not something against Fulani, but against all those who have stained their hands and have betrayed the trust of the people," declared yesterday Aitanga Lubonia. So far, 8,500 citizens have signed the petition, which will be sent to the President as a request to dismiss the governor of the Albanian Central Bank, Ardian Fulani. The President of the Republic of Albania, Bujar Nishani, has decided to send back to the Parliament three very important laws approved from the majority: the law of the state police, the law regarding the High Council of Justice, and the law about the administrative court were sent back from the President in order for the majority to reconsider them. President Nishani explained his decision with the argument that these laws violate the Constitution and go beyond the powers of law. The lack of compatibility between the law creates the need for reconsideration. The legal changes that this law brings violate the principles of the Constitution and break the law, argued the head of the Albanian state regarding the changes in the state police. According to the President, the new law gives to the state police some responsibilities and competencies that belong to the Guard of the Republic. Regarding the law in the High Council of Justice, the Albanian head of state declared that the proposed legislative changes go beyond the constitutional rules and they violate the principle of having balance between the judicial and executive powers. Furthermore, the President of the Republic stated that this law violates the principles of having hierarchy. Regarding the changes in the draft law for the administrative court, President Bujar Nishani stated that they seriously jeopardize the constitutional independence and give enhanced powers to the court councillors regarding the appointment of legal assistants. The President of the Albanian Republic said that this law creates the risk of improper influence in the exclusive function of the judiciary system and puts the structures within the court in inappropriate conditions for establishing trust relationships. Legal changes arising from this law are inconsistent with Article 7 and 145 of the Constitution and violate the constitutional principle of the rule of law, concluded the President of Albania, Bujar Nishani. Prime Minister Edi Rama has reacted in his social network of Facebook after the decision of the President of the Republic, Bujar Nishani, to return to the Parliament the law regarding the state police, where he expressed his regret for the return of the law, adding that this was a law which is worked and drafted with international partners. Rama further calls the arguments of the President to reserve the law as pseudo-arguments of the Democratic Party. The President rejects the law on police and lists pseudo-arguments of the Democratic Party for a bill which is worked with international partners. Regret, he said in a Facebook status. While in another post he wrote, "But it is useless, the reform will continue. The Parliament will pass the police law, again without any change. Pseudo-arguments of the Democratic Party are worthless," writes Rama. Allegations that flour imported from Serbia and other neighboring countries has aflatoxin in its content or this stuff harmful to health are denied by the Minister of Agriculture, Edmond Panariti. After finishing the inspection in a bakery on Muslim Shuri Street in Tirana, Mr. Panariti calmed the citizens, assuring that the informations published in the media are not true and that the flour is guaranteed. The Ministry of Agriculture, which has food authorities under its competence, will start inspections in and around Tirana to see the quality of flour and services. While for the closing of the illegal bakeries, an initiative undertaken earlier, the minister did not mention the exact number of the businesses that are closed, but he said that illegal entities cannot freely exercise its activities anymore. The members of the family of the 26-year-old waiter killed yesterday in Dermi warned that if the perpetrators are not caught by justice, they will make self-justice. As they speak about the shock they suffered when they learned the news from the media, family members of Denis Vushka said that he had never created problems and that he never complained about his seasonal work in the South Coast. Denis Vushka was employed in a hotel in Drimada since the 1st of August 2014, but he went for 3 years every summer season in southern Albania to benefit some more incomes. Denis was the only boy of the family and he had 2 sisters. Denis was buried today at his city. Regarding this event, Vlora police arrested 3 people, among them the owner of the hotel. The police of Shkodra have identified the perpetrator of the incident which occurred last night on the beach of Velipoja. The event shocked the whole area, overpopulated by vacationers in the summer season, when a person opened fire in the direction of a local bar and the Czech tourist was injured. Police suggest that the author of the serious crime is the citizen Surjan Husseini, 31 years old, from the village Darajat of Shkodra. It is learned that he had a conflict with another person for the tents on the beach, and in that moment he shot with a gun, but the bullets captured the Czech tourist. Meanwhile, the police of Shkodra declared him as wanted, and it is learned that the Czech tourist Martina Mala, 26 years old, received the necessary assistance to the hospital. The Democratic Party has accused today the government about the growing insecurity in the country and the deterioration of public order after the serious event that occurred last night at the height of tourist season in 2 of the most frequented beaches in the country, as the beach of Velipoja and Dermi. The injury of the Czech tourist in Velipoj and the murder of a young man in Dermi are evidences of the growing uncertainty and anxiety created to vacationers and to the citizens, according to the Democratic Party. Coordinator Saljani accused the involvement of the police in matters of private interest with political orders of the Prime Minister and its failure in the priority task, which is to provide security for citizens. At the height of the tourist season, in the 2 of the most frequented beaches in the country, 2 serious criminal events took place yesterday. In Velipoj, the gun battle between gangs caused the injury of a Czech tourist, causing panic among vacationers. In Dermi, the killing of a young man, the finding of the body of a young man, has brought anxiety and insecurity at the area vacationers. While the criminal events have invaded Albania, the state police, with a political order and for private interest, blocks the public works in Tirana for the interest of the Prime Minister Edi Rama. Where there are multiple police forces to stop these public works, today, in broad daylight in the middle of Tirana, a woman was violently robbed. The Prime Minister does not stop his vacations and continues to do the role of the opposition on Facebook, because this is not a concern to gain political capital, but it is a concern of residents, citizens of all Albanians, to have more public order and safety in the country, said Saljani, who gave a statement before the Ministry of Interior. The Democratic Party has released today a media statement through its coordinator Silvi Bardhi, in which it accuses Prime Minister Edi Rama of public protecting a falsification, a fraud which constitutes a criminal act. His chief inspector of the Ministry of Education results to have a fake diploma for a doctorature and that has used in its job applications. It is generally known that the center that was giving such doctorates was a fake one, and it was closed by the Ministry of Education in 2007. The news was made public and was broadcasted by all the media at that time, said Bardhi. She emphasized that the chief inspector of quality of the universities has been one of the victims of the French deceiver, who is convicted by the court of Tirana. But Rama does not deal with the fact, because if he would have dealt with the fact, he would have taken measures to the person with fake diploma who is lying by using this invalid document. Through another media statement, the Democratic Party has again accused the Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama, regarding his silence and the violence caused to the opposition. The attempt to shut the mouth of the opposition through violence and life-threatening is one of the most serious events that have happened in our democracy. As such was the Bandit Act that happened in Parliament 36 days ago. Edi Rama is trying to minimize this event by being silent. Edi Rama is silent even when publicly learned that his deputy, his violent instrument he uses in the parliament, results as a former convicted for prostitution, traffic and kidnapping. The more Rama is silent for the violence against the opposition, for the evidence that show the incrimination of parliament, the more the dimensions of this scandal grow. Dimensions became more scandalous when we know that the one who ordered violence in the parliament was the prime minister, and the prime minister did everything to have our Bendoka in the parliament. It is said in the statement of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party says in its statement that it will not allow the establishment of this regime, in which, according to Rama, is the normal thing that those convicted for prostitution and kidnapping to become deputies. We will not allow the standards of Edi Rama to be installed, according to which the violation and life-threatening of the opposition is a normal thing to be done. Citizens want reaction and transparency. For this reason, we will every day accuse the criminalization that Edi Rama is doing to state officers and the parliament, concluded the declaration of the Democratic Party. Even this year, the city of Ulcin has remained one of the most favorite destinations for vacationers, absorbing hundreds of tourists from the Balkans and beyond. Considering the tourist season as successful, which so far has seen over 100,000 visitors, the mayor of Ulcin, Fatmir Gjeka, says that the other investments will make Ulcin even more competitive. Gjeka states that the expansion of the border, crossing of Mureșan, and its return to a custom point is necessary. Tourist season of 2015 will have more innovations, and this, according to the Mayor Gjeka, is based on the interest of foreign investors. One of their incentives that the town hall provides to tourism is the construction of hotels with 4 and 5 stars without paying tax. The tourist season in Ulcin brings hundreds of thousands of holiday makers and vehicles to triple the number of the later circulating in the city. This year, according to the municipality, there is an increase of foreign tourists from Western Europe. The Democratic Party of Kosovo and the bloc of the opposition are waiting for the decision of the Constitutional Court in order to proceed with the creation of institutions. Leader of the Democratic Party of Kosovo, Hashim Thaçi, said that once the Constitutional Court issues a verdict, then this party will engage in forming a comprehensive government coalition. He said that nobody can steal the legitimacy of the citizens of Kosovo. Thaçi said that the best governing formula is to respect the right of the Democratic Party of Kosovo to create a coalition with its partners. We are currently waiting the decision of the Constitutional Court. Then, we will engage in forming a wide coalition with the participation of Albanian and ethnic minority parties. The best governing formula is to respect the right of the Democratic Party of Kosovo, as the winner of the elections, to form a legitimate government. Good governing must continue. The battle against extremism will continue along with the battle for law and order, battle against corruption and organized crime, economic development, and implementation of the new mission, said Thaçi. But there are voices within this political party who do not exclude extraordinary parliamentary elections. The vice chairman of the Democratic Party of Kosovo, Hayreddin Kuçi, says that the work is being done to build legitimate constitutional institutions and that the elections are the last resort. We work in order to build legitimate, stable institutions based on the Constitution. All of this must be solved in the best interest of the citizens. If the elections are the last resort, then we will participate in them, but this should be the last resort, said Kuçi. Meanwhile, opposition parties in Kosovo so far have declared that they will not govern with the Democratic Party of Kosovo. Opposition bloc said that it is against the holding of parliamentary elections. The leader of the Democratic Party of Kosovo, Isa Mustafa, said that Thaçi's government has impoverished Kosovo and that the solution consists on a government formed by opposition parties. We don't have time to waste. The new government must be formed as soon as possible in order to offer perspective to Kosovo. We are the most undeveloped country in this part of the world, with over 40% of unemployment, with the lowest GDP per capita and great poverty. We must make a solution for our citizens. We must encourage economic development and attract direct foreign investments. There is no democracy without economic development, without employment, and with high poverty, said Mustafa. According to him, Kosovo needs the help of the European Union to overcome the transition period. Europeans must help us, like they have helped the others, to overcome these phases of transition, while we must maintain our dignity and work in order to build stable institutions and open development perspectives, declared Mustafa. The analyst from Kosovo, Halil Matoshi, says that the fresh elections are not the best options for Kosovo, as according to him, Kosovo has other challenges lying ahead. The fresh elections are not an option because Kosovo has many other challenges and it's entering the phase of a contractual agreement with the European Union. Therefore, I believe that institutions must be built based on this, said Matoshi. The International Police, Interpol, has accepted the request of the authorities from Kosovo to release an international arrest warrant for Lavderi Muhajeri. The introduction of the Kosovar who is fighting in Iraq in the ranks of the Islamic State on the most wanted Interpol list has been confirmed by the Court of First Instance in Ferizaj. Lavderi Muhajeri thus becomes another Kosovo national who is declared as a highly dangerous person by Interpol. The demand to Interpol has been made by the Court of First Instance in Ferizaj, which has declared Muhajeri wanted for terrorist acts and organization of groups who go to Syria and Iraq. Sahid Krasniqi, the judge who issued the international arrest warrant for Muhajeri, has confirmed that the Sector for International Cooperation of the Ministry of Justice has sent a request to issue an international arrest warrant for the person in question. A while ago, Muhajeri has posted on Facebook terrifying photos of children being slaughtered in Syria. The violence, called by him, has forced Kosovo authorities to hold an operation for the arrest of the terrorist suspects and those who are suspected of fighting in Syria and Iraq. The Prime Minister of Serbia, Aleksandar Vučić, said that no threats are made against his country, stressing that in his opinion, the statement by Russian ambassador to Serbia, Alexander Chepurin, that the country would suffer enormous damage if it were to impose sanctions against Russia is not to be seen as a threat either. No one is threatening Serbia. We are a small country, but we value our integrity and identity very much, and I am sure that Mr. Chepurin did not have any such intention, Vučić said Thursday at the Serbian government, replying to a reporter's question if the ambassador's statement can be regarded as a threat. Vučić said that he believes that the Serbian government and he personally enjoy the respect of Russia's President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. Chepurin said in an interview for the Belgrade-based daily Večernje Novosti that Serbia were to introduce sanctions against Russia, it would be like shooting itself in the leg. He underscored that such a decision could be adopted only by a suicide politician, because Serbia would derive no benefits from such a move, only enormous damage. Out of 193 United Nations members, only around 30 countries introduced such members against Russia, and none of them are BRIC members, Chepurin recalled and added that the majority of countries in Serbia's neighborhood did not introduce such measures either, while those that did realize what they have done only after they saw Russia's counter-sanctions. And And that was the English news edition prepared for today. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Good night.